Work problems. Rate of work times time equals work done. Okay? What does rate of work mean? How fast you work, how fast you get the job done. Times the time will determine how much work actually gets finished. Fractions may be used to express rate of work. All right. Now, let's take a look at the sample problem at the top. Katina Marsh can paint her living room in 3 hours, okay? Toshio Miko can paint the same room in 4 hours. So in other words, who works faster? Right, because she can do the same job in an hour less, an hour faster. She paints slightly faster. If they work together, how long will it take them to paint the living room if that is their rate of work? All right, so what we're going to do is we'll set up a box to kind of get everything straightened out, organized, if you will. And here's what we'll do. We will say Katina, Toshio, and R times T equals W. That's the formula that we just talked about. Rates times time equals work done. If Katina can finish in 3 hours, her rate is going to be 1/3 of a room per hour. Remember how we measure rates? Usually like per something. So if she worked at that rate, she would finish one job in that 3 hours. If hers is 1/3, what's his? I'm assuming it's a guy. 1/4. Okay? We don't know necessarily how long, but if I'm plugging these into this equation, 1/3 times T, I'm going to multiply fractions, I put in fraction form, equals T over 3. Then therefore this is going to be T over 4. Okay. Now let's take a look. They are working together. So Katina plus Toshio is going to equal what? One job done. So you see fractions. You see a plus sign. You have to make sure they have the same denominator. In this case, it's going to be what? 12. So what I will do is I will multiply both sides by that 12. Okay? So now, multiply this side by the 12. They have 3 in common. That's going to be what? 4t plus 12 times t over 4. 3t is going to equal 12. Can I simplify? 7t is going to equal 12. Divide both sides by 7. T equals 12/7, or for this, they wouldn't mind if you simplified a little bit. Okay. Okay. So if they work together, it'll take them less than 2 hours. So let's play the game a little bit. Look at exploratory. Exploratory number 1. Louisa can paint her house in 8 days. Okay. So what part of it can she paint in 1 day? One eighth. What part of it in 3 days? 3/8. How about in X days? Okay. Number 2. Drew can build a garage in N days. What part of it will be done in 1 day? 1 over N. What part of it will be done in 4 days? 4 over N, and 4N. And how about in X days? X over N. They're just kind of getting you familiar with the rates, how we're going to document the rate. Now, let's take a look at number 3. Gabe can do a job alone in 8 days. Stephen can do the same job alone in 10 days. What part of the job can Gabe do in 1 day? In X days, what part can he? How about let's solve this? They're just asking you. Right now, they're asking you the same thing that they asked you in 1 and 2. They're just having 2 guys. So let's set this up. Give ourselves our little chart. R times T equals W. We got Gabe. We got Stephen. Okay. If Gabe can get the job done in 8 days, what is his rate? If Stephen can get the job done in 10 days, what's his rate? We don't know the T because they're working together. When I multiply 1/8 times T, I get T over 8. 1/10 times T. Okay. Where do we go from here? They're working together, remember. T over 8 plus T over 10 is going to equal 1 job done, right? What is the LCD of 8 and 10? 40. So I'm going to multiply both sides by that 40. So T over 8 plus T over 10. Okay. 40 and 8 have 8 in common, 5. Okay. Is that your flash drive? Thank you. 5T plus 4T equals 40. Right, it will equal 9T. 9T equals 40. Divide both sides by 9, and T equals 40 over 9, or and what was the label? Days? Simplify? For this, it might put things into perspective a little bit more. You try written number 1. Written number 1. Jane, what's her rate? 1 what? 1/4? Okay, so T over 4. How about Jim? What's his rate? So T over 4 plus T over 6 equals 1 job done. What then is the LCD? So 3T plus equals 12. All right, 2 2/5 hours. How many minutes? This part here is definitely talking about the minutes portion of your hours, right? How many minutes in an hour? 60. Divide the 60 by 5. 12. How many 12s? 2. 2 hours, 24 minutes. This fraction portion isn't a full hour, right? So what do we call that portion of time that isn't a full hour? Is minutes. Can I divide 60 minutes by 5? 12. How many 12s are there? 2. That's why it's 24. However you. Don't worry about if you're not comfortable turning it into minutes, at least just get the fraction right. No. I don't want to make you think too hard. What would 1/4 of an hour be? Of an hour.
Oh, wait, okay. So you divide 60 by 4.
15. How many 15s do we need? 1. How about 2/3 of an hour? How many minutes in an hour, Raven? 40. How many minutes in an hour? 60. All right, 60 divided by 3 is 20. How many 20s we need? 2. That's 40.
I bet I could do it now.
Think so? Mark, shut up. 3/10 of an hour. I mean that affectionately, of course. 18. Good? Ready? Good? We move on? Good. Assignment, good. You've been wanting an assignment. I know. I've been nice because you've been slaving over your science fair projects. And
Oh my god.